everybody, and welcome to another episode of Silence Abounds, Science at Home, where we will discover home lab magic. Welcome back, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. In my channel, I describe and demonstrate scientific principles, reactions, and concepts through experiments covering chemistry, biology, microbiology, microscopy, and molecular biology. The experiments are all performed here in my home laboratory. In today's episode, we're going to look at the anatomy of the brain. I'm going to dissect a sheep's brain and illustrate and point out some important structures in the external anatomy and the internal anatomy. I produce video notes to accompany this video with all the science background. And if you want a copy, send me an email and I'll be happy to send it to you for free. Just put in the subject line which field notes you want. So let's get started on the dissection. Okay, so this is my sheep's brain. At the moment, it's got a layer covering the brain. This is called the dura mater. It is a tough connective tissue layer that serves as the outer layer of the meninges. So the first thing first is for me to cut and remove the meninges from the brain to expose the brain structure and anatomy. So what I'm going to do first is very gently remove the dura mater. Okay, so I've removed the dura mater that was protecting the brain, and this is the brain that I have. It's a sheep's brain, and what I want to point out to you are some of the external structures. So there's a couple of regions to learn. You have at the front of the brain is the hind brain. Then you have the midbrain here. And then you have the forebrain here, which is the largest part of the brain is the forebrain. What we have here is the cerebrum. And the cerebrum is the largest and most complex part of the brain, responsible for higher brain functions. It is divided into two cerebral hemispheres. So here we got the left hemisphere, and the left hemisphere is responsible for language, logic, and analytical tasks. The right hemisphere here is responsible for spatial ability, creativity, and facial recognition. The two hemispheres, the left and the right, are divided by this central canal called the medial longitude fissure, which is a deep groove that runs lengthwise and separates the right and left cerebral hemispheres. And it helps organize nerve tracts symmetrically. So here, this part of the brain is called the cerebellum. And the cerebellum is a major part of the brain that plays a key role in coordination, balance, and motor control. It is located at the back of the brain below the cerebrum. So if I turn it over, this area here is the cerebellum. It is composed again of two hemispheres and a central region called the vermis. Outer layer cerebellar cortex, gray matter, and has an inner layer called white matter. You can also see on the external structure the part of the brainstem and what is leading to the spinal cord. And the spinal cord basically is your body's main information highway. It is a long, thin bundle of nerve tissue that runs from the base of the brain all the way down your back. It is divided into several regions, namely the cervical region, which is your neck region, the thoracic region or the upper back, the lumbar or lower back region, and the sacral region, also in your pelvic region. So why don't we now take a look at the internal structure? And the simplest way to do that is to cut along the medial longitude fissure. And that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so let's cut the brain in half and take a look at the internal structures. I've got my scalpel here, and I'm going to cut Okay, wonderful. Okay, so now we can take a closer look at the internal structures of the brain. So here is the cerebellum, and this white matter in the cerebellum, it's very difficult to tell, but in the center bit, the white matter is called the arbor vitae. The arbor vitae, and you can see it's all branching out. This white material is branching out within the cerebellum. Okay, and this branching out is the branching white matter of the cerebellum, and it carries nerve signals between the cerebellar cortex and other parts of the brain. Here's the brain stem, which is part of the medulla. This is the midbrain, and then you have the brain stem, which leads to the medulla, and then the spinal cord, which I showed you earlier. The brain stem is found between the brain and the spinal cord. Okay, so the brain, you've got the brain here, and then the spinal cord is here. And the brainstem controls vital functions, including breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure, and acts as a relay station between brain and spinal cord. It also regulates consciousness and sleep and your reflexes. Then this region here is called the medulla. And then you've got a region here called the pons. And the pons it sits above the medulla. So this region here is your medulla. And then here is your pons. And it sits above the medulla and below the midbrain. And it helps control breathing and plays a role in sleep and dreaming. It controls facial movements and expressions and involved in eye movements. It relays signals between the cerebellum and the cerebrium. Below that, here is the medulla region, here. And the medulla is the lowest part of the brain stem, and it connects the brain to the spinal cord, which is here. Spinal cord is here. It controls heart rate, breathing, blood pressure. Any damage to this region, the medulla, it can be life-threatening. Within the brain are ventricles, okay? And we have the third ventricle here. And these are cavities. And then there is the fourth ventricle, which is here. And these are a system of interconnected cavities that contain cerebral spinal fluid, or CSF. And the ventricles cushions and protects the brain and delivers nutrients and removes waste and also maintains a pressure balance. This region here, I'm just seeing where you can see it better on this one. Okay, this region of the brain here is called the corpus callosum, and this is the brain's communication highway. It's a thick band of white matter and allows the two hemispheres to share information, and it helps with coordinated thinking, movement, sensation, and vision. This region here is the thalamus, and is usually a little bit darker than the white part of the medulla and the brain stem, so it's a little bit difficult to differentiate. But this region of the brain is called the thalamus, and it is the brain's main relay station. It relays sensory information such as touch, pain, temperature, vision, and hearing to the central cerebral cortex and helps regulate consciousness, alertness, and attention, and plays a role in motor control by connecting motor areas. And then the final part of the brain that I want to point out is the penile body, which is here. And the penile body is a tiny but powerful endocrine gland in the brain. It's located deep in the center of the brain and secretes melatonin, regulating the sleep-wake cycle. It influences the biological rhythms and helps control the timing of puberty. And that's the penile body. Well, I hope you enjoyed that presentation and demonstration of the external and internal structures of the brain. You can do these dissections yourself in the comfort of your home, and I list my resources on when or where you can buy these dissecting kits and dissecting organs. And I will be doing a dissection of the kidneys in a future video that will be coming out in the next couple of months. So please look out for that if you enjoy these dissecting anatomy videos. Please do hit the subscribe button. It shows me you support the channel. It's a big help to me, and I truly, truly appreciate it. It's free, doesn't cost anything. So if you're viewing this, please do hit the subscribe and also hit the like button. It means an awfully lot to me and keeps me going making these videos for you. Please send me a comment. I love to hear feedback, and send me an email with any of your questions or comments as well. And also, if you want a copy of my video notes. Until next time, keep on experimenting. Goodbye, everybody.